Stephanie invited me, she said 5 minutes, and I lived on Elizabeth Street between Spring and Prince only for 3 years, from 1992 to 94. But it was a very intense, sort of compressed period of my life, so I thought it would be appropriate to write this up in haikus, which is a very compressed form, so these are 28 haikus about the period that I spent there. I need my glasses. 198A Elizabeth Street is in between Spring and Prince. 1992. There were Dominicans and Chinese on our block. There was a Puerto Rican super named Johnny. He claimed the Chinese liked to dry fish on their radiators. I'm sure that this was not true. Our landlord was named Oscar Ianello. Think Little Italy. I looked Dr. Oscar up on City Search and found this quote from a tenant. So uptight he can crack walnuts between his ass cheeks. That's about right. I guess some things don't change, though the rent now must be 5 times what it was. Back then, I lived with my Brazilian boyfriend. He played drums. We had to pretend to be a drum repair store. We put a sign in the window. In 3 years, no one ever brought a broken drum to our house. The one junkie tried to sell us an accordion he'd probably stolen. I got pregnant. My son was born at the New York Downtown Hospital. I walked there when I went into labor. All the babies were Chinese except for Leo. When I brought him home, I dressed him up and put him on display in the window of our store. I'd made him lots of outfits out of velvet with ruffles. I was going for a kind of Jimi Hendrix look. I have some photos of those outfits. One day, Leo's dad said he was going to Brazil to play drums in the carnival. He never came back, so I had to move to Princeton, New Jersey, where I was teaching in the English department. It was very quiet in Princeton. I lived there for 1 year. Sorry. And it was the saddest year ever. Not because I had to leave New York, but because that was the year the love of my life died of AIDS. Not my baby's dad, but the boyfriend I was with for 8 years before I met my baby's dad. He was also Brazilian. Sometimes I go back to the storefront on Elizabeth with my son. He's a man now. I tell him that the whole block used to smell like bread because there was a bakery on the corner that made good bread, good Italian bread. He says he can remember the smell very clearly. Thank you.